Come on, boys, let's go. Rosenior starts life off perfectly as our new manager by bagging a 5-1 domination performance against Charlton Athletic. I feel like if you're Rosenior tonight, if I'm keeping things real, it was about how many goals we can score with all the troubles and the apathy and the negativity around the club right now. The football is a much welcome respite. It's much needed. It's the perfect distraction for fans to not think about the hierarchy in the club so we can just be involved and entertained by the football that we're seeing. And tonight, I feel like at times, there was a show that was put on. And I feel like in this game alone, we saw slight differences between Enzo Maresca's approach and Liam Rosenior's. Now, in terms of the whole framework, there's a lot of similarities. As we all know, the club decided to go for Rosenior over your Javis and your Felipe Luises because they felt like it would be a lot easier for the team to acclimatize to a new manager's ideas. That's where there was kind of some common sense around it. But in terms of the tweaks and variations we saw, they were definitely there. And they came in the form of having a pivot in Santos Caicedo that were the generals playing close together with all the play going through them. So many short passes, constantly involved, and defensively their job was to split wide to help defend counter-attacks with the wide centre-back and the spaces in behind the wingers. But the biggest change, the much welcome one that I was very impressed by, has been something that I've been calling out for over a year. If you guys are locked into my streams, you'll know exactly what I'm about to say, but I just felt like under Enzo Maresca, he was way too flipping conservative with how he used the wide centre-backs. Way too conservative. He was always keeping these guys as a back three at all times. And I just felt like, you know who this used to hurt the most? It used to hurt the wingers out wide, bro, because they would always have two opposition guys onto them. And you forever see them having to play passes backwards too often or passes inside. But when you give the license to the wide centre-backs to be ambitious, play past the halfway line, and actually offer width overlapping or also underlapping as well, I felt like it just allowed the wingers to get in the game a lot more, take more shots, not be forced to staying out wide by the byline, but now having more license to come inside more often than you typically see. And I just think that that's why we saw superb performances from Jamie Gittins, who did really well today, considering he was playing on his weaker side. I just felt like the footwork, changes of direction, and just the bravery he was showing with his dribbling. This is why I call for my footwork engineers in the team. And I just think that when he went off and Estevao came on, I mean, he, of course, tired out that left back. But Estevao took things to another level. Superb penalty win. Just the moments, the skill, the dynamism, the bravery. For me, I wasn't expecting Rosenior to change the rule book. He wasn't here to do that. But as I've been saying in all my videos, I'm hoping he makes the right, the smart, the effective tweaks that can possibly get a little bit more from some of our attacking players. And I feel like one of the best tweaks that could help us is giving the wide centre-backs more license to attack. At Chimpong today, this guy he was ever present in this game today. He was ever present in this game tonight. He was constantly looking to time that overlap every single time to stretch Charlton's back line. Yeah, to drag a man away, to free up space for a winger. It was refreshing to see him doing that from the first minute to the last minute. There was that particular galloping run outside when Estevao came inside. You have to see that more often. We rarely saw that enough under Enzo Maresca, and it was a bit frustrating. Listen, I hope you guys aren't misunderstanding what I'm saying. I have to be objective with what I'm seeing, and I'm talking about the differences because obviously we all care about that. But we have to also see more games. It's a very small sample size, but it's also refreshing to see that, can these things we did today translate for us when we're up against teams that are just sitting back, defending with their low blocks? Personally, I have a bit more optimism that the introduction of the wide centre-back in play can make the difference because they were like some of the big improvements for us. Action Pong supportive runs. And Joel Hato, I thought, great that this kid now that he's getting a bit more game time, is showcasing that innate potential that made us fork all the money out on him to begin with. Now, it was really interesting to see in the first half that there was a lot of similarities in terms of the tactical setup, right? The way the ball moved was a bit different, but in terms of the positions players took up, we saw that box quartet. It was Santos left, bottom left, Caicedo bottom right, Hato top left, and Norte top right. I think Hato in Verding can definitely improve a lot more. He hasn't mastered the role just yet. We saw glimpses though. We definitely saw glimpses, and I thought in the second half he was doing a bit better combining with Garnacho, because Garnacho was a bit quiet in the first half because he had no support. But yeah, I mean, I have to bring up Hato because the goal he scored right before the halftime whistle ended. For me, when Chelsea score around this time, most times we're set to win the game. And it's what we need to kind of change the nature of a game, right? I just felt like the first half, I mean, we all saw it. It was like the typical, short passing, rarely any penetration. There was like a few great moments. I thought Norte with that ball over the top in the box, that was nice right after the restart. We saw Gittins forcing a great shot with his left foot with barely any backlift. We saw like a handful of moments, but everything still felt like it was quite in vain. So the fact that we scored that goal in spectacular fashion from Hato's half volley, I mean, what a goal. Yeah, he took that goal like a seasoned striker. I sound cliched, but maybe at the same time, if you're getting a ball that's that inviting, a rebound that's set up that beautifully, and your first instinct is to not lace that on the half volley, then I don't know what you're doing at this football club. But it was a spectacular goal. The moment we scored, that's when the game starts to change. Now, of course, we get the second goal as well. That was a big help for the team. Charlton, of course, came back to make it 2-1. Maybe you're seeing little weaknesses in terms of how we defend crosses a little bit. Charlton had a few dangerous moments here and there where if they were a better team or a Prem team, we might have been punished a little bit. We can't ignore that detail. But I liked how we kind of still kept pushing on in the second half. Rosenior did say he wants his teams to always push on. He wants his teams to invigorate the fans, get them on his back. And I like the fact that we were just continuing to go for the next goal, go for the next goal, go for the next goal. That's what we kind of need, I think, for a young team too. When they have goals behind them and they have assists behind their names, it really gives them that confidence, right? Case in point, Mark Guiu. I was feeling quite sympathetic for him a bit. It's one of those games where you're barely going to get rewarded. You're barely going to get the opportunities. But he still stood there. And his moment of fortune came when Norte's shot deflected off the goalkeeper. And Guiu was in the right position to put in the rebounds. You could see how relieved he was when he celebrated, how much it meant to him. It can be a very lonely role playing as a Chelsea striker. So it was great to see that Guiu was able to get on the score sheet and affect the game in that manner. Of course, we can't ignore the other goal scorers in the game tonight. Enzo's penalty right near the end. I don't know why I'm even forgetting some of the goals now, which is just like ridiculous. There's like my mind is just so discombobulated right now. Just so excited. So many things to discuss. So many things to talk about. There's so many great moments in this game for us for sure tonight. But yeah, like I said, man, it was great to see how we kept pushing forwards further on. Of course, Neto scoring a goal right near the end, coming inside, hitting it with his right foot. I was kind of okay seeing him on the bench. I'm hoping he's not starting against Arsenal. I feel if there's one thing that the system kind of showed us tonight is that having players that are able to, carry, run at their man, it causes so much mayhem. It causes so much damage. And I think that was really typified by Esteval Willian tonight. I mean, you can tell the kid is hungry to play. You can tell that he's disappointed that he's not always getting opportunities. And he just played like a man possessed. He's like one of those rare players where he doesn't need 5-10 minutes to feel the game. He's instantly there. The penetrating runs in behind, the carries, the balance, the agility, the stop-start nature, the amount of shots that he forced straight away. Some of these shots are ambitious, but And Esteval is 18 years old. He has to feel confident that he can take risks, because that will be what makes him the player he becomes. All those risks and half chances one day are going to be chances that only Esteval can convert and score and become that difference maker for us. I just thought that he was really good. I liked seeing his combinations alongside Enzo Fernandez. And again, just having that wide centre back in action point, given the license to push forward and really get up the, right to the byline, made such a difference for us in terms of finding possibilities to play through. Hopefully, this is the start of interesting things to come. I like some of the tweaks. I like the chances we made. I think we made like 9 big chances today. I know it's Charlton, but you guys, let's keep it humble. Look how we struggled against Lincoln City, a team that's in League One, for God's sake. Look at how we played against teams like Cardiff City. It was very late. It was a Labour performance, that took late goals near the end to seal the game out. We had so many free-flowing moves. I'm looking at Liam Delap. If there was one goal I wanted to score tonight, it was Liam Delap getting on the end of that free-flowing move, which started from deep, went to Enzo, went to Esteval, went to the left side, perfectly cushioned into the feet of Liam Delap, who does the best thing with his movement, just running against the grain of where the defenders were, to find himself a marks in the box, and he didn't bury it. I was thinking, Liam, bro, that could have been a classic goal for you to score. But, okay, we saw a lot of dynamism from the wingers today, from our wide play, a lot of penetration from our wide play, a bit more variety, a lot of line breakers, a lot of 1-2s. It's an encouraging start to life. Now, I'm not saying, okay, after this game, this is Liam Rosenior, he's mastered us, that's that. I think it's a good test to have an FA Cup game. It's like a more competitive pre-season friendly. But now we go into the game against Arsenal a bit more optimistic, a bit more hopeful. This is a good result tonight to improve upon confidence. Rosenior was saying that he's hoping to build a run of form, because that's what we need to end the season on a strong note. We need that run of form. Can this game tonight, can this win tonight be the platform now that can kind of now encourage this run of wins in our favor? At the moment, we have a very full squad. Asugo returning, being on the bench was a highlight. A shame he couldn't come on, but it was a good highlight to see. We have wingers in Garnacho, Gittins, Neto, Esteval. We got options about. Palmer wasn't even here. Pedro didn't play. Some of the big guys didn't play as well. We have enough fit players where all we got to do right now is get the confidence back, get the run of form. If these players have the confidence, we saw what happened at the start of the season. If it can return back right now, with some of the games we have coming up, getting a result against Arsenal, even if it's not a win in the first leg, a draw or not losing can take your confidence back into the Prem game. Then we got Paphos coming up. There are some games in this month now that are very winnable for us to try and get back and make things happen. So, bro, we wait to see what happens, man. We watch this space, but all you can ask for tonight is a convincing win, and Liam Rosenior delivered that. The team tonight delivered that. This could have been a performance where the players are still upset about what's happening, or the dishevel, or the mayhem. As I'm saying, it's a good distraction. We can focus on the football again and just talk about what we enjoyed seeing tonight. But, he's coming here at a very difficult time. And I think if there was a way he wanted to start life at Chelsea, a 5-1 win in the FA Cup where he's kind of imposing his tweaks into the team and showing that the team are still competitive and still hungry, I don't think he can ask for any more, in my opinion. So, my friends, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this game tonight. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow with more videos. Love. Cool.